Hello my friends, in today's video we will take a look at two entry-level to mid-range compact hybrid cameras, Fujifilm X-T200 and Sony A6400. These two cameras are not direct competitors, but a lot of people may still be deciding between these two. I can basically simulate having the A6100, which is a direct competitor of X-T200, by not using some of the features on A6400, so I will kind of be comparing those two as well. Both A6400 and X-T200 are remarkably small cameras. The packaging is really excellent here. Both were able to pack relatively large APS-C sensor and a lot of processing power into a camera body with a footprint smaller than the iPhone, so the mirrorless design really works in this case. A6100 is the same size as the A6400, so there will be no difference. On the other hand, there will be a difference in build quality. That is one of the main areas where we can see the difference in the price and the class. A6400 uses magnesium frame, it is very well made, and I can say that it feels quite premium. A6100 is made of plastics, so that one will be closer to X-T200. X-T200 is also made of plastics, the build quality is okay for this category, but it doesn't feel particularly premium. Neither is fully weather sealed, which is to be expected, but both should survive reasonable amount of bad weather. Both cameras use 24.2 megapixel APS-C sensors with Bayer pattern made by Sony. It may not be the same sensor though. The image quality or the amount of detail that both cameras can capture is basically the same. X-T200 has pre-production firmware, so side-by-side dynamic range comparison wouldn't be fair at this point, but I expect the results to be very similar. Same is the truth for the low light. On A6400 the images are very clean below ISO 1600, ISO 3200 still looks good. ISO 6400 is usually usable for digital publishing, but there will be some noise. ISO 12800 is usable for low dynamic range scenes such as concerts. I expect very similar results with X-T200. The difference is that the base ISO on A6400 is 100, whereas on the X-T200 it is 200. That might make a difference in large prints in some specific scenes, but for intended purposes I wouldn't be concerned about that. X-T200 has a bit less of a rolling shutter effect in 4K video, so that sensor might have a bit faster readout, although there is still some amount of rolling shutter visible. A6400 has pretty significant amount of rolling shutter. Again, that might be a problem for very professional use, but for intended purposes it is not a big deal. You will get excellent image quality in stills with both, so I have no complaints here. A6100 has the same sensor as the A6400. On Fuji you can choose from 11 film simulations for JPEGs, or if you shoot RAW you can choose film simulation in the playback menu. My most favorite simulation is probably Classic Chrome, which provides very nice vintage look with a bit of fade. I also like Velvia a lot, which is more vibrant and saturated look. On Sony A6400 you have picture profiles. These provide basically unlimited options, which is very useful especially for video. There is even the S-Log 2 and 3. Especially if you want to shoot flat video and color grade in post, picture profiles are a huge advantage. On A6100 the picture profiles are not available. Regarding the video, both can shoot 4K in 24 and 25 frames per second with no crop. X-T200 can shoot 30 frames per second with no crop as well. On A6400 there is about 1.2 times crop in 4K 30p. On A6400 there is about 1.2 times crop in 4K 30. The video on both is downsampled from 6K, so it is very detailed. It also seems like the bitrate is 100 megabits per second in 4K on both, which is more than enough for intended use. There is 15-minute recording limit in 4K and 30-minute in 1080p on X-T200. A6400 and A6100 have no recording limit, which is a big advantage for some types of use. Regarding the 4K video quality, I have to say that it is better on Sony. The difference seems to be mainly caused by the in-camera compression and the sharpening. That is set really high on X-T200, and in the end it kind of kills a lot of detail. But here I have to say that some of the consumer users actually prefer over-sharpened look, so this might have been done on purpose. A6400 shoots beautiful 4K video with great amount of details. That will be the same on A6100. If you want Fuji that can match that, you have to go with X-T30. That one shoots great 4K or 4K DCI in 200 megabits per second. Eterna film simulation and even F-Log are available on X-T30, as well as 10-bit external recording. The X-T200 still shoots very nice video. The oversharpening is nowhere near as bad as on Canon, for example. For vlogging and casual filming, it will still provide great video, but not as good as Sony. Regarding the autofocus, on A6400 it is basically perfect. Sony claims that it is the fastest autofocus system on the market with 0.02 seconds focus acquisition time, and I do believe that. It is really crazy fast and 100% accurate with no hunting at all. Real-time tracking works great as well. It works equally well for stills and video. You can also set the smoothness for video. A6400 also has the same autofocus system, so it will perform just as well. X-T200 that I've been testing as pre-production firmware, so I can't fully evaluate the autofocus. At the moment, it is not quite at Sony level in video, especially the smoothness is not there. It will still work fine for majority of situations. If I want to make it fail with some close to infinity focusing, I can make it fail, but if you work with the autofocus, it will be just fine. With Sony, I just can't make it fail. In stills, the autofocus is very good on X-T200, no complaints there. Regarding the handling, there is a big difference in overall approach. Fujifilm has chosen very modern approach. Obviously, the most important control element here is the 3.5-inch 2.7 million dot touchscreen. That is great, very big, very sharp, very bright, and overall pleasant to use. There is also a new touch interface, which is a step in the right direction, but it has very limited functionality. I miss a lot of options there that would make up for the lack of function buttons. Quick menu is also optimized for touch use, so I use that for most settings. Beyond that, the main menu is not very touch friendly, also the responsiveness is not quite on the smartphone level, but overall I do like this approach. Regarding the physical controls, there are just 2 customizable buttons and no 4-way pad, but you will still have a joystick and 3 control dials. The grip is pretty shallow, but at least there is a grip, and the handling with smaller lenses is still fine. Sony, on the other hand, uses very traditional approach. Maybe too traditional. The physical controls are actually really good for the size. There are 8 customizable buttons and 2 dials, which is very good for this category. It has a touchscreen, but you can only use it for touch focusing and touch tracking. You can't use it in the menu at all. The menu is also quite complicated, but it offers more customization and more settings. A6100 has a bit simpler menu, which might be more suitable for beginners. The display on A6400 uses 3-inch 921,000 dot panel, and it is not bad. It is quite sharp and the visibility is very good. The X-T200 has much better screen though, there is no doubt about that. The grip on A6400 is actually pretty good for the size. It works well even with medium-sized lenses. Overall, I would say that X-T2 handling is more suitable for the beginners and for the people who are switching from smartphones. A6400 and A6100 may be better if you want to use more advanced options. X-T200 uses 2.36 million dot panel with 0.62 times magnification. It is pretty small viewfinder, but it is fine for composing the shots, and it is nice to have any viewfinder at all in this camera. A6400 also uses 2.36 million dot panel, but with 0.7 times magnification and also 120 Hz refresh rate. It is better viewfinder than in X-T200 and actually very good for this category. A6100 uses 1.44 million dot viewfinder, also with 0.7 times magnification. I have never seen it to be honest, but the resolution sounds really bad. Both cameras have forward-facing screen, but the X-T200 has fully rotatable touchscreen, whereas the A6400 and A6100 have forward-facing tilting screen. I would say that X-T200 screen is better for vlogging. A6400 screen always stays in the center of the camera, which is an advantage, but it will be blocked by external microphone. Neither of these has in-body image stabilization, which is fine at this price point. Both Sony and Fuji offer kit lenses with very decent stabilization, which will be sufficient for most situations. X-T200 also has digital stabilization, which is actually very effective, and it helps a lot with non-stabilized lenses. A6400 doesn't have that. A6400 can shoot 11 frames per second with mechanical shutter, continuous autofocus and automatic exposure, which is very good. The buffer can store 46 RAWs, which is also very good. Unfortunately, the A6400 still uses UHS 1 card slot, so the buffer clearing is a bit slower. It is still the best sports camera in this category in combination with that autofocus system. Surprisingly, even A6100 can do the same. X-T200 is not intended to be a sports camera, but it can still shoot very respectable 8 frames per second with autofocus in RAW. The buffer only takes about 18 RAWs, but I really can't complain about that in this category of camera. The battery life is similar on both. X-T200 is rated for 270 shots or 450 in economy mode and 55 minutes of 4K 30p video. A6400 is rated for 360 shots or 410 in economy mode, and it can also shoot about 50 to 60 minutes of 4K video. That is not a great result for either, so I recommend picking up a few spare batteries for both cameras. Both can charge batteries in camera. Fujifilm wins here because it uses modern USB-C standard. That can also be used as a headphone output with included 3.5mm adapter. Sony uses outdated micro USB port despite that it was introduced in 2019, so thumbs down for that. For this video I have mainly been testing both cameras with the kit lenses. These are quite similar, very small and lightweight pancake lenses with power zoom and optical image stabilization. Both are actually pretty sharp, especially when stopped down. Fuji XC15-45 is wider on the wide end, which will be very useful especially for vlogging. You will probably want to get some better glass down the road, and fortunately both E-mount and X-mount systems offer a lot of options. Fuji has more first-party lenses available, including excellent 16-55mm f2.8 or even cine lenses. There are some great third-party options for Sony, and also full-frame lenses, so the lens selection is great for both. To sum up, I would say that both, or all three, are very good cameras, but also quite different. X-T200 is really designed for entry-level market, vloggers, bloggers, and people who are switching from the smartphones. For those, it will be a very good choice. It is easy to use, it has great touchscreen, it provides very good image quality, and the lacking advanced features won't be a concern for the target group. For more advanced users, I definitely recommend X-T30. Also, if you want a B camera for X-T3 or X-T4, definitely get the X-T30. A6400 is also a very good camera for the beginners, apart from missing touch capabilities. It is a better camera for more advanced users. In that regard, it is similar to X-T30. It also has better autofocus, more options for video, especially the picture profiles, and unlimited recording. A6100 misses the picture profiles, it has worse build quality, and lowers viewfinder. Here I would definitely recommend spending the extra money for A6400. In the end, it basically comes down to how advanced shooter you are and how you intend to use the camera. So that's it for this video, thank you for watching, I hope that you liked this video and that you have found it to be useful. Stay tuned for more videos and maybe consider subscribing if you don't want to miss my future content. I appreciate your feedback in form of thumbs up or thumbs down. If you would like to ask anything or share your opinion, please do so in the comment section, and see you next time.